The Blue Jewel.
Chapter 10. Part 2. When Aris regained consciousness, she found an uncomforting vision. All her companions were in a dungeon chained with heavy shackles. The Kendali could not get up because of the heavy clubs. Everyone was imprisoned there except Gosberg. Even Sabu was imprisoned by huge shackles the size of critters. Agnorak and Aris were the only ones who were hanging hand and foot. They were too dangerous not to take all possible precautionary measures. The shackles were magical, and it must have been one of those dungeons used by necromancers for their dark rites. "Where are we?" Aris asked with some tiredness. The effects of the gas had not completely disappeared. "We don't know, surely, in the basements of any of the magic towers." Kritis replied that he was trying to get comfortable, while Kush tried to speak but his mouth was covered, probably to prevent him from casting a spell. "Whoever it is, he wants us alive." Aris and Agnorak were bare-chested. Agnorak could see the tattoos of both on their backs were almost the same, a wide black circle inside which there were 3 other circles forming an equilateral triangle. The difference is that he had tattooed on the upper circle of the triangle a crescent moon in a vertical position and Agnorak did not have it. That indicated that Aris was of royal blood. Both had scarred bodies, a life too much given over to fighting. Both were now conscious and remained calm. "Who is the cause of this?" Arian screamed, trying to get rid of the shackles, but it was impossible. It seemed that it was molten metal on his wrists. No crack or egg was noticeable to place a key. Agnorak and Aris looked at each other and opened their eyes at the same time. "We are fools." It was too obvious. "What is obvious?" asked the dwarf. "My cousins will notice now. The scent is unmistakable." Gulak was one of the orcs who were sitting next to Arian. "Someone is coming, footsteps are heard." After a moment everyone heard the door of the dungeon open and 2 figures entered, one of them a tall being, of powerful constitution. It was Jumel. I watched the scene satisfied. There was nothing better than being efficient. His companion was the great Fedoros Magnus, with a joyful expression at the sight of his prisoners. "They are not as much as they say," joked the magician with complicity to Jumel. "It has certainly been easier than expected. Agnorak is losing faculties." The half-orc turned to look at Jumel, but he totally ignored it and looked at Aris' tattoo. "It's incredible, a real blood Sinurfd. If it is true, an exquisite tattoo, made by the royal shamans. The white crescent implies that he is the heir to the throne. Only the king has in that place a completely black circle that signifies a black moon." Jumel shook his head. "This deal is not fit for a king." Jumel protested. "He is not king." "According to their customs, yes." Jumel opened the door and covered Aris' back with a blanket. "What are you up to?" To Fedoros, clemency seemed a weakness. A king must always maintain dignity. Jumel punched Agnorak in the back a few times. Fedoros shrugged. "He's not of royal blood, he's a bastard." And hit Agnorak again. "Don't worry, you're mine." "Enough nonsense. Obey the orders, you will have your revenge soon." Jumel regained his composure and lowered his head as a sign of submission. "Much better," said the magician. Fedoros walked among the prisoners and approached the height of the half-orcs. "Where is the jewel?" "You know the answer. The Denkga has it." "We knew there was something strange in all this. Renegade white robes. That was impossible and we gave the jewel to the only being that cannot be caught." Fedoros and Jumel looked at each other. Of course the Denkga was too elusive. Without the jewel his whole plan would fail. Jumel hit Aris hard. "Where is Denkga? Where is the jewel?" No one knows what's on their mind. Aris smiled again as he took blows from Jumel. "Gosberg will be hidden for years. Send all your mags, you will finish them all." With those words Agnorak provoked Jumel, who stopped hitting one half-orc to hit the other. In the middle of this interrogation another magician appeared to interrupt the scene. "Grandmaster." I have ordered that they do not disturb me. Excuse me, my teacher, Adenka requests a meeting with you. He says it's urgent, he says there's a betrayal in the Great Council. Everyone went blank, Fedoros began to smile. But you hadn't told Gosberg that the traitors were the white robes. Agnorok shouted to Aris. No, it seemed too obvious to me. Aris replied disoriented. The great wizard began to laugh out loud, while Jumal beat the two half-orcs. Stop it! He's the only one who can't be caught, he doesn't need to give himself up, let's go. We will deal with these monsters later. Jumal and Fedoros were leaving the dungeon, but Aris asked the mage before they disappeared. Fedoros, one of the greatest magicians in history, why do you do this? You risk everything to collect those cursed jewels. The mage turned and looked at the half-orc.